Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Happy that you're here today. Today we're going to talk a little bit of a hack if you have pain or bruising or injuries that you'd like a little support with. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this product called Rock Tape. Rock Tape, there's another brand called KT Tape, very similar. These are kinesio tapes. They are a sticky athletic tape that you apply to your skin and let it do its magic. Now, you may have seen rock tape or KT tape on athletes, like, for example, at the Olympics, volleyball players, or, many different types of athletes will use this. They'll wrap their shoulder, they'll wrap their knee, they'll wrap their knee. They use it. It's very, very versatile. I use it in my office quite frequently, and I use it for people who come in pain. It can be good for both acute pain, like if someone just rolls their ankle or if they throw their back out. It can also be good in times of chronic pain, someone who comes in and has pain for a long period of time. I have seen it do a little better job with more of the acute stuff, but it can also, like I said, be very good for the chronic stuff. You can also use this for bruising. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. You can also use it if you're trying to work on your posture. You can use it if you're using your posture. You tape yourself in good posture so that you can stand up straight or keep your shoulder blades down or whatever it might be. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail with that today. I want to go into more detail about how to use this if you're in pain and how to have it help you decrease some of that pain. Now, the difference between rock tape and KT tape, there's a few differences, is that it has a little bit more stretch. So if you're putting it over a joint, you're going to be able to move through that joint a little bit easier with using rock tape. They both have very similar adhesives. They are non-reactive adhesives, so people with sensitive skin can a lot of times still use this rock tape without it irritating their skin. If you're someone who does have very sensitive skin, you may want to try a small piece on your skin before you put a whole bunch on, right? Just to see how your skin does respond. But when you're using rock tape, I cut it and I use it in such a way that people can keep it on for 2, 3, 4, 5 days even, right? If it's working and it's helping, keep it on. Now, what we're going to do with this tape, let's say someone comes in with acute low back pain. I'm going to cut them a strip of this. And depending on how much pain they are in or where it's at, it can be shorter, it can be longer. This is a pretty good length here, about 8 inches. Now what I do from here is I fold it in half, and I'm going to use my scissors to round the edges. Now you might be like, why the heck do you do that? But rounding the edges like that makes it so that it doesn't have rough edges when you go to shower or when you're drying yourself off after a shower or something like that. Those rounded edges just stay on a little bit better. So again, I'm just folding it in half and cutting off so that I've got rounded edges. The other thing that I typically like to do with this is I will create like an anchor point almost. So I'm going to tear a little strip in the end. And then when I go to put it on, I'm going to take this part off and apply it to the skin so that, let's say my pain is right here. If I take this piece off, I can stick it onto my leg, and then I can just simply peel and lay the rest of that tape right over the top. Now, people will a lot of times ask me, like, how is this working? What is this going to do? Many people, when I give this to them, they look at me like I'm crazy. And I say, just try it. It's not going to hurt to try, right? And a lot of times they come back in the next day or 2 days later, whatever it might be, and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what that did or how that worked, but it really helped. It really helped decrease my pain. I hear that all the time. For a simple little thing like a piece of tape, it's pretty crazy. Now, how is the rock tape working? One, it's going to lift that top layer of skin off so fluids can move underneath a little bit easier, so help decrease some of that inflammation. Two, it's also stimulating the mechanoreceptors in your skin. So we have different fancy little cells in our skin. There's 4 main types of mechanoreceptors that live on our skin, and it's going to relay information and messages back up to the brain. Right, so we have 4 main types of mechanoreceptors. They're going to be sensing light touch, or deep touch, or sustained pressure, stretch, vibration. So when you put this rock tape or the KT tape over your skin, you're stimulating those mechanoreceptors. And again, it's sending that signal up to the brain that something's going on where that tape is, right? And so that brain can then send whatever it needs down to help heal that area or do whatever you might need to do in that area to get yourself back in optimal health. Now, in terms of applying this, you're not trying to yes, there is stretch to it, but you're not trying to stretch it. I mean, there are applications where I might tell people to stretch it, but for the most part, when we're dealing with pain, there is no stretch. There's no stretch to the tape. You're just laying it on the skin. The reason I like rock tape is their philosophy is just get it on the skin. It doesn't matter how it looks. It could look sloppy. It could look messy. KT tape they've got like put it on at this degree and, rounded at this, and it's really, really technical. I'm not looking for technical. I'm looking to stimulate those mechanoreceptors and get that brain involved to help your body heal as quickly as possible in the least, complicated manner possible. So again, what I would do is I would tear that little piece at the end. I would take this piece off. I would anchor that to my skin. Let's just use my arm here. Let's say I have pain right here. I'm going to take this and I'm going to push that firmly into the skin. This is now my anchor point. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to peel, if I can get it started here. Sometimes it's nice to have someone to help you put this rock tape on. Here we go. This is why that anchor point is so important. But what I'm doing from here then is I'm just going to lay the tape across my skin. Now this isn't a great example, but you can see then how I can push this into my skin. It's kind of over my elbow a little bit, but I can move and I can use my arm through this. But I can feel, even just having this on here, that there's something there. Like my body's like, what's going on here? And I don't even have pain in this area of my body, right? So because I have the rounded edges, if I take care of this properly, I could keep this on for 3 or 4 or 5 days. Just make sure when you're showering, you're patting it dry, you're not rubbing it off. Now, when you go to take it off, let's say you put it on, someone who's got a really hairy leg or a really hairy back. You may want to shave the area before you put it down so you're not just ripping it off and ripping all the hair out with it. Don't recommend that because once it's on there for a few days, it's really stuck on there. But let's say you go to take it off, and like many times, Band-Aids can leave the little residue around the side. What I've found in the past is that if you use makeup remover or an alcohol wipe, a lot of times that can help get some of that gunk and that leftover stuff off. And it works really pretty slick to do that. Now, let's say you have a really, really bad bruise. I want to show you this one too, because this works so well. You could look up images on Google and be like, wow, that's really kind of crazy. But let's say you had a gnarly bruise. I've had some lacrosse players, softball players come in with some gnarly bruises with balls bouncing off their knees or whatever it might be. And you might be like, I need to work on this bruise. What you can do is, again, I'm taking a piece of tape. I cut it, I fold it in half, rounded my corners. And now what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to have it in half again. And I'm going to cut some strips into this tape longitudinally, so lengthwise. So I'm cutting some strips into my tape so that when I open it up, you'll be able to see that I've got strips here. Now again, you're still going to want your anchor point, so you're still going to want to take that end piece off. And again, let's do the other arm, see if I can do it better with my right hand. But if I anchor it in, and let's say my bruise is right here, what I want to do is I want to take this and I want to get it so that I can lay it out over my skin. An extra pair of hands here is really kind of necessary. Let me get it started. But if I've got it here, I've got it anchored in. Now what I want to do is when I lay this out, I want to lay these strips so that I'm going around whatever bruise I've got, right? So if I'm laying it out, I'm getting all these strips way out And what it'll do is when I have it on that bruise and you leave it on there for a few days, it again lifts that top layer of skin off so fluid can move a little bit easier. And you'll see people who have these deep, deep, dark purple bruises, how it almost has a spiderweb effect when you use the tape on it. It really works very, very well. And bruising can be really painful. So if you can decrease the length of time you have to have that bruise and have the pain, that would be obviously ideal. That's how I use rock tape in my office. It works really well for pain. It works really well for bruises. It works really great for injuries. Like if you do need to, if you've got an injury, and bruising on an ankle or something of that nature, it's not expensive. I mean, I think a roll of this, I think I sell it for $20, $25. You should be able to buy it at Target, but I'll also link it below in the description so that you can take a peek at it. It comes in some fun colors too. So if you're a person who knows that you've got a shoulder problem and you're going to want to tape your shoulder all the time for when you go lift or something of that nature or whatever, and you're like, I don't mind standing out a little bit from the crowd, they've got a purple and pink argyle. My favorite is actually the blue, light blue and dark blue argyle, but they've got lime green, they've got black, they've got lots of different colors that this comes in. So again, I'll link it in the description below so you can take a peek at my Amazon storefront and see if it's something you need to purchase to have on hand. Highly, highly recommend it. If you do use it and you find it to be beneficial, let me know. I always love hearing the success stories of rock tape. But thanks for tuning in today. I hope this was helpful. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned. I've got new episodes that come out every Monday and Thursday.